Implicits in Last Epoch are directly scaling your damage and are therefore really important, and Last Epoch has chosen a very special way of going around scaling your damage and therefore bringing back a lot of value onto the base item type. Let's take a closer look at daggers, for example, but this is fully interchangeable for all the other weapon types. As you can see here, we do have plus melee damage, chance to bleed on hit, and plus flat 2% critical strike chance on the bone dagger base type. These are all the implicits. So all you can see here on the Maxroll planner, that is going to be linked down in the description, by the way, you will have these stats no matter what on every bone dagger. You can add as many pre and suffixes as you want. These implicits are never going to change except the roll ranges right here. So the chance to bleed on hit for the bone dagger is going to be rolled whenever you find or gamble for that item. Now, if we take a closer look at the next dagger type, for example, this chitin dagger here, we do have melee damage, crit, and chance to poison. This one is obviously a little bit more higher level. As you can see in the bottom right, it requires level 68. And if we compare these two, there is actually a huge difference because we do have way more critical strike chance and we do have way more melee damage. And if you remember the noob trap video that I did previously on this channel, also link is going to be down in the description below if you need to know more about what you should not be doing in Last Epoch in the first place. It's really important to have these flat damage modifiers, in this case the melee damage. And obviously it is going way up the higher you go in level. Therefore, it is also really important to know which implicits your build actually needs. Because you might not need the chance to poison on hit, but instead you could then profit a lot of the obsidian dagger if you deal primarily physical damage, for example. So if you are a physical damage build that also needs crit, the obsidian dagger is going to be perfect for you. Of course, all of this information is transferable to all the other weapon types and also to all the other item slots. In this case, for example, the rings. The silver ring, I'm quite sure you have seen this in your playtime in Last Epoch already, is going to have increased movement speed. This is also a roll range, and this one is usually very good when it comes to leveling because we want to go fast. But a distinct difference is the gold ring. As you can see here, 18 elemental resistance as a high roll as well on the implicit. This item is already, just without any stats, very powerful, and you should definitely think about what your build needs in that current situation when you are picking out your gear pieces. It's not only about the prefixes and the suffixes, no. The implicits or the bases of the items you are going to be crafting on in Last Epoch are extremely valuable and also very different. For example, also the belt slot. There are huge discrepancies. For example, we do have the bronze belt with 100 armor and 4 potion slots, and then we also have the plated belt that is available way earlier in game that has the same amount of armor but 1 less potion slot, and then we also have the ranger's belt who doesn't have the armor anymore but now has 5 potion slots. So this could come in handy, for example, if you are fighting a boss and there are some things that you just can't dodge, and that 1 more potion going into the fight is actually going to help you. So there are not only huge differences in prefixes and suffixes, on every slot you need to think about which base would be the best for my build and for what current situation. One more very important example here on the boots. And there are also tremendous differences when it comes to their power. For example, the hide boots are very early on available. Armor, increased movement speed, very good early game. But if we go to the absolute maximum when it comes to the level requirement, you can see how much more powerful the implicit becomes. Now we get 90 armor and 45 fire resistance, which is almost taking care of the whole fire resistance for you without you actually having to block on an important part of your armor. It is instantly going to be taken care of on the implicit, and you don't even have to invest any form of ethic shards to already go very close to the cap of the fire resistances here. There's also some more stuff. Usually there are 2 to 3 variants that are almost the same power level. For example, here we do have the Boron boots that are a little bit less powerful in terms of armor, but still have that huge cold resistance implicit on them. I strongly suggest to go through all of the available implicits and think about which one of those could be helpful for you before the game launches. The leveling build guides on Maxroll make it extremely easy to find those if you don't have the time to go through all of the implicits. For example, we do have the Blade Dancer leveling build guide right here, and we are looking for critical strike multiplier as Chris on our weapons. Then we want to have the armor and poison resistance here on the helmet slot, for example, and also armor and physical damage, as well as the chance to shred armor on hit. If you have chosen your build already, Maxroll is going to help you the most when it comes down to the implicits. And now you can take the knowledge into the game itself, so you don't have to constantly think about this by adding the stuff into your item filter. In this case, you are going to add a second version by duplicating your first one and then editing it to calling it strict, because now you're going to filter out all the bad item types or the bad bases. So for that, you would go into one of the rules. It doesn't matter which one it is. You probably got to do it on all of them, and then add a condition. And this time you are going to use the item type, and you're going to filter. Let's say you only want one-handed weapons, but these need to be swords, for example. And now this would actually show all of the swords, but we need to be more specific with the subtypes here. Namely, we want to only see the Falchion, for example, and also the longswords. And now only these are going to be shown. In this case, you're going to update that, and now this is part of your rule, and you never have to worry about the implicits. The implicit question has come up fairly often on stream, so I got inspired by that. If you have any more questions or want to see me blast Last Epoch, especially during the hardcore solo self-found race starting when the game releases, then I suggest you check out the Twitch that is going to be linked down in the pinned comment and in the description below. And if you like content similar to this, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.